I think by now you all have the picture. We do not have to go through all the court appearances. The documentary will do that for us. We also don't have to go through all the violent acts. You get the picture. What I think you do not get is what is really happening here. I think you still think this is about a car. It is not. And it never was. This was, and still is, a coordinated deflection strategy. If it was about a car, Standard Bank would have welcomed my first offer to be tested by their own forensic department. They would have welcomed my repeated written requests to resolve this matter amicably outside the courtroom. So before, during, after every court hearing, I used to beg Standard Bank in writing to resolve this matter amicably. But they were relentless in their refusal until they were forced by one ethical judge of the High Court of South Africa. Are Standard Bank, Batifedil. Why is everybody glossing over facts? I've read the papers. What is the problem? So on the next video, I'm going to jump right to the end of the court process. And I'm going to relate just the last two court appearances that actually placed all the abuse on ice for a short while. Because even after the car issue was over, the violent derailment of my educational project persisted. Remember, we had researched and finalized 3 cantons for 3 very different educational offerings, customized to the specific canton, to the specific province. To date, all 3 programs are still blocked. So this is not about the car. Let's all see the bigger picture here. By this time, I've had enough of their attacks. So I decide to move from Johannesburg and go and live in Cape Town to hide. So I'm never in South Africa permanently. I live abroad. But because of my social projects, I come home every 4 to 6 weeks and then spend 2 to 3 days doing all the admin things and making sure everything is running properly, and then I go back. My daughter stays in a different place. So I'm so scared. We are both scared to ever tell each other where we are. We would say things and then we get funny phone calls. Anyway, we're very scared to say anything. We phone each other morning and night just to make sure everything is fine. So I'm back abroad. In my absence, this is now July 2018. In my absence, I get a message that the court granted a rule nisi, that my daughter must hand over the car to Standard Bank for safekeeping. What? So a rule nisi is a provisional or temporary court order that will be made final or binding on a future date unless the opposing party appears in court to show good cause why that should fail. I'm in Boston. I'm in the middle of a very important assignment. I have no way of coming back immediately. I ask to see the papers, they scan and send them. I read in shock. I immediately call court. I order a transcript. A transcript is everything. A transcript is a document that has everything that is said in court on that day. So after every court hearing, I have a habit of ordering the transcript and filing it so that hey, I've never seen people who can deny like this. Deny. So anyway, I keep the transcript. Mama Piga, I always show them. So on this occasion, I order the transcript to read exactly what is said to grant such an order. Hey, I read this thing with disgust. Anyway, sifuni lawyer manje ngoba there's no way I can go home. By luck, we get a brilliant lawyer to assist my daughter in my absence.
So Dr. Hammond is based in Switzerland. So it's important to note now that Prof Hammond says that at the time she was not a qualified lawyer, but she had been doing all these court battles by herself because of her knowledge of finance, because of her knowledge of how banks work. Remember, she was an investment banker since 2002. So she knows the in and outs of the banking system. And she wasn't even a qualified lawyer. And she had gotten so far with Standard Bank at this point without legal help. That is my understanding. It could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that is how I understand the situation.
To defend this rule, Lizzie. They respond to the matter, they get a date for the following month. Even the date they give me is the most busiest time for the assignment I'm doing. There's no way I can travel. And my daughter says, don't worry, I'll do it. They go. I try very hard to schedule the date to come to South Africa. I fail. My daughter goes to court with her lawyer, and she insists on defending herself. The judge that day is the Honorable Justice Fabricius. He asks her, Miss Hammond, where is your lawyer? She says, okay, first of all, angikho la mina, so this is hearsay, ne? So she says, hey, Judge, lawyers complicate situations. I need a simple talk with you, namhlanje, without any legal jargon. One, I'm being abused by Standard Bank. I have never spoken to Standard Bank in my life. I have never opened an account at Standard Bank in my entire life. I have never bought a car in my life. I got a gift from my mother when I passed matric well, and that's the only car I've had ever since. I'm a student. She says, this is my mother's car, and this is my mother's installment sale agreement. Standard Bank is deliberately blocking her joinder application for 2 full years now. She has applied to be enjoined to defend this matter because there's fraud in this matter. So here's the thing. My mother has written 1 million letters begging Standard Bank to settle this. They refuse. She applies to be enjoined. They refuse. They apply for one interlocutory application after another as a smoke screen. When this matter, Judge, is very easy. This matter can be sorted out in 30 minutes. It is that easy. She says, now there's a rule, Nisi, that I must hand over a car I know nothing about. Judge, I've never driven this car, and at this point, I don't even know where it is. Judge says, okay, you spoke of your mother. Where is she? She says, I don't know. Judge says, what? What do you mean you don't know? My daughter tells of all the attacks we are having, and for that reason, we are always hiding. We speak on a daily basis, but we don't tell each other where we are to protect each other. Judge says, wow. She says, I don't know. Judge said, Miss Hammond, you said this matter is very easy. So I'm going to ask for your advice. How would you solve this matter?
From reading the comments last night, I noticed that a lot of you either believe her or don't believe her. And you know what? I'm going to wait for the documentary because I want to see the evidence. She says that she collected the body fluids from when her daughter suffered that alleged poisoning. She says she has all the forensic reports, and that will all come out, I think, in the documentary. So I am looking forward to seeing that because I like to work on evidence. But from a psychological point of view, I think this woman is pretty traumatized. I mean, if you follow her account, she alleges she survived a violent attack in her own home. She alleges that her daughter was poisoned, and she's terrified. She is absolutely terrified. And this fight, it just does not seem to be ending. Now, it is not unlike some unscrupulous characters to basically carry on frivolous litigation in order to drain one's resources, to drain one's mojo, to drain one's time. And I don't know if this is the situation here. We will have to wait and see. But this is, I think she is in a very vulnerable.
What do you think should be done? My daughter says, first of all, at the moment, there is so many open-ended, hanging interlocutory cases. I'd like us to apply the once and for all rule. Then I'd like my mother to be enjoined to handle her own story. This is not my story. She says, Judge, I'm going to tell you something personal. I have spent 5 years at law school. And today, the reason I spend so much time at law school is because I want to sit on the chair you are sitting on. I'm working very hard to be a lawyer. But today, I'm going to offer you all of that. Please put me on the stand. If I lie to you, make sure I don't practice law in South Africa. Get me arrested. Put me on the stand. That's my offer. Judge says, did you hear what you said? She said, yes. So what do you want me to do? What do you want from me? You said it's easy. She says, Judge, only one question. All this smoke screen for 4 years now is hiding not to answer one simple question. Who signed the installment sale agreement? We have overwhelming evidence that is not me, and Standard Bank insists that it's me. And their insistence raises a whole lot of violations. Put that aside. Put me on the stand. It's a Tuesday. Judge looks at my daughter. He says, Thursday. I think it was 23rd August. He said, Thursday, be here. I'll put you on the stand. And let me tell you this. You lie to me, not only won't you practice law, I'm going to make sure the DPP is here to charge you. Do you understand? She says, my lord, I understand. Hey, Thursday comes. Family, before posting part 16, please can we go to update 3? Because I'd like to alert the country of a call I received today. So last night I received, well, during the day, just yesterday, I received a few mails and text messages from journalists. What infuriated me is their questions that already have a bias against me. So you get a question like, why do you lie against Standard Bank? And you want me to respond to that? So I say to him, okay. He says he'd like me to answer some questions. I say, okay, what questions would you like? He says, first of all, are you aware that there's a coordinated effort to discredit you online? I say, sir, there's not one human being who can discredit me because I've got nothing to hide. So they can go to town and do their worst. I don't care. Yesterday, I allowed a very young man who was genuinely concerned and begged me to respond to the things he sent me. I told him I don't play in the gutter, but just for yesterday I'll visit the gutter, just for him. But just that once, I'll never do it again. I don't want to hear any of these stories. I don't read junk, I'm not a dustbin. So I explained this to him. Then he says, okay, did you see Standard Bank's response? I say, no, did they send it to me? He says, no, they actually plugged it on social media. I said, I've never done social media in my life. I just came to South Africa now. to speak to you, but I'm not a social media person at all. I don't have those things. Besides, I don't need to see Standard Bank's response. I know Standard Bank's response off by heart. I can close my eyes and recite their template. They just pull a template and they change the names and put this detail so that it looks like it's you. It's all the same. And I don't only know this from me, but I know it from all the people I serve, that they rob, defraud, and scam of their hard-earned money. Oh, we've done all of this investigation and we didn't find any wrongdoing. Deny, deny, deny. We didn't take your mother's pension. We didn't touch your account. You are paying these people. It's not us. We didn't see any wrongdoing. I know that letter off by heart. I don't need to see it. If Standard Bank wants to respond to me, call me to a public platform with Standard Bank.
Now, I do think this is a very fair request. I don't think that it will ever happen. But like I said, I'm on the fence at the moment. I want to see receipts. And she said she's going to provide receipts in her documentary. She collected all these bodily fluids. She's got the forensic reports showing an alleged forgery. And Standard Bank, the only thing they referenced with regard to their statement, correct me if I'm wrong, is that one document where they said that there was no threats. They've never denied any of the other stuff that I can understand, but they said that there was no threats or escalation. So I don't know.
And then let them bring their documents, I'll bring mine. I challenge Standard Bank to meet me in a public platform with our documents. Everything I have said, every word, every letter I have uttered since I came to you humbly, I have a paper to prove it. Let me prove Standard Bank wrong on a public platform. I challenge them. I told you before I came to you, I went back to Standard Bank. I invited them. You know what they did? They threatened me with the biggest law firm in South Africa and Africa. They threatened me. Now I challenge them. Let's call regulators, let's call law enforcement, let's call everybody. If anything I have said since I came to you is wrong or a lie, I will take myself to prison. I challenge them. Let them come. Let them bring their documents. I'll bring mine. Interestingly, today I received an email from the law library. The lady says, we are inundated with requests. People want to see these papers. We go to court. The court doesn't have papers. How convenient. The court doesn't have these papers? How convenient. Where did they go? Call me to a public platform. I've been robbed 4 times of my documents, but I have every piece of paper. Call me to a public platform with Standard Bank. I will prove it to you. Call regulators to come and see. I will prove it to you. So I told him not to worry about it. He then said he'd like to ask some questions. Can he call me? I said, no, it's late. I want to sleep. So is it okay if you call me tomorrow? So he said, okay. I never take telephone calls. But if we have an appointment that you call me, then I take the call. So today I received a call. And I thought it's him. I didn't even recognize the voice because yesterday we were talking by text. So the call says, Professor Anele, good morning. I say, yes, good morning. He says, did you see Standard Bank's response? I say, no, I did not. He says, are you posting another video? I say, yes. He says, no. There'll be no more videos. I says, who? He says, I say so. So I say, sir, today I'm going to post videos, tomorrow and the following day and every day after that. He says, if you post any video today, it will be your last video.
That is rough. That is some rough stuff right there.
So I said, okay. You see, I don't need to beg South Africans to believe me. You have a choice. You can either believe everything I told you, or you can ask Standard Bank to meet me in a public platform so that I can show them the truth, or you can decide not to believe me. We have few freedoms. One of them is you can believe whatever you want. You see, I don't even relate to belief, because belief is just a stepsister of the truth. I didn't come to you for belief. I came to you to open your eyes so you can realize what is happening. Realize, not believe. Look, open your eyes and look. I came to you to give you courage to stand up and talk against the Goliaths that are abusing you. You see, justice is a very finicky concept, especially for poor black people. Justice delayed is justice delayed is justice denied. We say that in law. But in Gauteng, in South Africa, you have to wait 5 years for a trial date, unless you have lots of money and you can do agents and things. You still have to justify your agency. But for you to get a trial date, 2031 is the first date available, which means for 5 years you'll be waiting for justice, not having it. 2, you don't have resources to do that. So I came to you to give you courage that whilst we are waiting for justice, we can expose the Goliaths. The David and Goliath documentary is not for me. It's for every South African who has been abused to tell their story whilst we are waiting for justice. Expose the Goliaths. It's a sanitizer to expose the abuse we go through quietly. But because charity begins at home, I started with my personal experience. People say it's a story. This is not a story. It's my personal experience. And when I finish this one, I'm going to the Gore case that everyone is posting. Oh, there's a Gore case. I'll tell you all about it.
Now, a few people have reached out to me with their own experiences about Standard Bank. And not just Standard Bank, other banks who are allegedly doing this. And I don't know, maybe Prof Anele is onto something here. Maybe this is a whole syndicate, as she says. But like I said, Standard Bank has denied all wrongdoing.
In the meantime, I'd like us to encourage Standard Bank to meet with me in a public platform, and we both bring our papers to prove to South Africa what exactly is happening in this case. It has attracted a lot of attention and interest. Let's cut it. Let's prove publicly who's telling the truth. They're denying. I'm saying one thing, they're saying the other. Let's prove with our documents.